This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
Let's go, baby, let's go!
From a championship backfield to your morning drive.
Hands to Hester, and Hester, yep, got it, 5 out of 5!
You're locked in to Off the Bench.
Flynn is back to throw from the end zone. Boom!
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, here's Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
Yo!
Yo!
Cassie, don't let us down.
Yo!
Thank you. I never opened the show like that, but we hadn't done it all week, and I kind of missed it, so we're doing that. Taylor Sharp here with you.
Expecting that, yeah.
I just decided to do it. That's my fault. I didn't tell you guys. Taylor Sharp here with you in the host chair. We got Alondra Villarreal and Cassie Spazzali. If you can see this black dot on my shirt, it's been a morning, guys. I carried in about 6 things. Had the energy drink held up here, and evidently it had some condensation on it, so now we got a giant wet spot on the black shirt.
No biggie.
Well, here's something else I noticed. Only thing that makes me more pale than wearing a white shirt in these lights, wearing a black shirt. That forehead, pretty shiny here this morning. Cassie's probably going to have to wear sunglasses, changing those cameras all show long. Look, we are here rocking and rolling. Going to have a good time on this Friday. Jake and Matt are out. They needed the day off here on this Friday after being out in Atlanta all week, working so hard. But we are here with you. We got Alondra, we got Cassie. Guys, how we feeling? Alondra, you were out in New Orleans for UFC Fight Week. So it was a mixer last night, weigh-in today?
So there's like a press conference.
Okay.
I had to miss the media day, which I'm upset about because you get them like one-on-one at that. But, I mean, I just couldn't make it in time.
Well, I mean, you were dusting her buds anyways, so it doesn't...
Yeah, we're cool.
Right.
Yeah, no big deal. We're actually, like, not. But I feel like I was wondering yesterday, like, I was like, if I ask a question at the press conference and I'm like, Alondra, 1045, well, nobody was doing that, so I would have been the only one doing that if I would have done that.
They'd have been like, this girl. Jeez.
Yeah, like, okay, amateur. But I wonder if he would have been like, oh, yeah, we talked. Probably not. But
not a shot at you. He probably did 50
so many people
at Super Bowl week. If it wouldn't have been Super Bowl week, I would have thought maybe. Like if it was like a one-on-one and he did like maybe 2 that day. Super Bowl week, no chance.
I mean, he did say, I'll see you at the Post Malone show.
Did you see him at the Post Malone show?
I actually did not see him there, but I did see like Shane Gillis there, which we didn't talk about his SB thing.
Oh, we'll get to it.
But anyway, I'm like getting off track. But yes, press conference yesterday. It was awesome. This is my first time going to like any sort of fight stuff. So it was super cool, like a great experience. I was kind of nervous because nobody from here is going. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be at this press conference by myself. I'm going to look like a loser.
Matt's going to the fight.
Yeah, he's going to the fight. I'm going to look like a loser, and then I'm going to go to this mixer, and I'm just going to be, like, standing by myself, like, super awkward. But as soon as I got there, like, I sat down not next to this guy, but, like, near this guy, and he was like, hey, I'm Doug. Like, super cool. And, like, I kind of attached myself to Doug because I was like, okay, Doug, we going to be cool. Turns out he works for Sports Illustrated, so that was a good friend to make. Right. But I did meet up with our guy, Devin Snow.
Saw the
Shout
pic,
out!
loved it.
Sent y'all a pic in the group chat last night. Yeah, it was fun seeing him and hanging out with him. He's just as funny IRL than he is, as he is like on the internet or whatever. And it was so funny because people kept coming up to him and they were like, you look familiar. Are you the Red Beans guy? I'm like, oh, poor Dev.
Bro, but like the traction he's got from that.
Yeah.
It's just what. So is weigh-ins today?
So the weigh-in starts at 8
a.m.
But yeah, but
okay, we're not going to that.
No, but they have a ceremonial one, like a one where like they do all the fluff and stuff. So I'm gonna go to that one because it's at 4, and they're also gonna do like a Dustin retirement, like special thing. So Daniel Cormier is gonna be out there, so I'm excited for that.
Did you stay the night?
No,
I know this was up in the air.
No,
that's the right decision.
The skies cleared for me on my way there and on the way back. I was like, oh, thank God, because I was nervous about it because it was supposed to storm, and it was storming like when I left. When I left to get there, it started pouring, and I was like, oh my gosh, please, please, please. But it the skies cleared up.
Well, I mean, knock on wood. I was reading last night about the storm thing. Like it dropped from like 30% development to like 10. Now, that could change, but, like, it kind of just seems like it's not going to rain maybe quite as much as they thought it did.
Yeah.
Maybe it will, maybe it won't.
Hopefully.
But,
Hopefully it won't.
Apparently, the worst of it, like, it was going to be Saturday. It might have been yesterday, though. It just depends. All right, so I'm excited about the weigh-in. Like, I wish I was going because I like how every time, it's only the male fighters. They get on the weigh-in stage, right? They're super serious, and they always go,
oh, yeah, they do.
and I'm like, does that make you
finger?
lighter? Does that make you lighter? Like,
right.
every time, right here.
It's
about
just,
this high.
I'm
like,
number
what are we
one.
doing? Right.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Like, that guy just said he was number one.
Right.
You can't get up there and do the same
thing. We can't all
thing.
be number one.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Somebody's got to lose. But I always think that's really funny.
Yeah.
All right, look, we got a lot on the dock today. And what I kind of do is hour one's going to be kind of a recap. We're going to recap SEC Media Days, react to some things. Hour number 2, we're going to go a little bit all over the place. We're going to have Nick Underhill on, actually, today since we didn't get to him on Tuesday. And then hour 3, we're going to preview the weekend. We're going to preview LSU football season. We're going to get Alondra's prediction on the UFC fight. Probably last full segment of the show since it's the big fight of the weekend. So we got the whole show laid out for you. And right now, let's get this thing started.
It's time to get glowing, courtesy of GoFlow IV Spa, where hydration, vitamins, and a summer-ready glow are always on tap. Now, for starters.
Getting in for starters first segment of the show. Look at us. Okay, so SEC Media Days obviously was all week long. It wrapped up yesterday, and you hear a lot of like, oh, here's my projected order of finish. We're going 1 through 16. I am not going to go 1 through 16 because that would take about 30 minutes. We're not going to do that. What I want to do is kind of maybe give you my top 3 teams in the league, maybe the teams I feel the best about, and then the teams at the bottom of the league. I'm going to have these two over here check me, see if I'm right or wrong, or whether they agree or disagree. Alondra will love that. So projected order of finish at the at least at the top. There's 3 teams at the top for me. It's LSU, it's Georgia, it's Texas. I know everybody wants to go Alabama. We'll talk about them a little bit later in the show. I can't get there with them yet. I think there's some question marks on that team. LSU is obvious. They hit the portal hard. They got better at every skill position, both sides of the ball. Like outside of offensive line, you went from having multiple question marks to very few. Now, are the transfers on the D-line going to work out? Are the transfers in the secondary going to work out? I don't know. But talent and depth-wise, you're better right now than you were any point last season. That's why I feel so confident in LSU, and they have the most stable quarterback situation in the entire conference coming into the season. The next team is Georgia. Look, Georgia lacks weapons on offense. Gunnar Stockton is a new starter. I understand that. But in my opinion, Kirby Smart has earned the benefit of the doubt. Like, you'd be hard-pressed to find me 2 coaches I would tell you are a better college football coach right now than Kirby Smart. He has earned the benefit of the doubt in my eyes. Now, I just mentioned Stockton as a new quarterback. He didn't play a ton last season, but he showed some promise. I mean, they didn't ask him to do a ton in that SEC championship game against Texas, but he was efficient nonetheless. He got the job done in a really tough situation. Like, he played against Texas and then Notre Dame in the playoff game. Both of those teams had top 5 defenses last year. Like, those are elite college defenses, and he held his own. It was not disastrous. He looked like he belonged out there. An offseason where he knows he's the starter, where he's getting all the 1 reps, there's a chance that Gunnar Stockton takes a step forward. Now, maybe he doesn't, but what else I like about Georgia? Kirby freaking Smart, your coach, you know that defense is going to be elite. So if Gunnar Stockton can just go in there, take care of the football, not turn it over, not put his defense in a bad spot, that defense is going to keep you in every game you play in 2025. It's what Carson Beck did first year starting. And I remember last year, Beck had the turnover issues before his injury, kind of put Georgia in some binds at times. If Gunnar Stockton can eliminate all that, I think he'll be fine. I really do. I mean, he's been in this program, 4 years now? He sat behind Stetson Bennett, Carson Beck, waited his turn. Like, Gunnar Stockton's been there, done that. And then the last team I want to highlight is the Texas Longhorns, because they're very similar to Georgia. I think they have a really good college football coach in Steve Sarkisian. Now, I've said it multiple times, this show, other shows I've filled in, I'm taking a wait-and-see approach with Arch Manning, and I think that's the right thing to do. I think Arch is very talented, and look, if you had to put me on the spot, is Arch going to be good or bad next year? I'd say Arch is probably going to be very good, but we still need to wait and see. My biggest issue with Texas is they lose a lot of weapons on offense. You lose Matthew Golden, Isaiah Bond, Gunnar Helm. Those are your top 3 receivers from a year ago, and you lose multiple offensive linemen, one of which was drafted in the top 10, is going to start at left tackle for the New Orleans Saints. But a lot like Georgia, their defense should be one of the best in college football again this year. You got Michael Taft back. That was huge. Jake and Matt were raving about his performance at SEC Media Days just a couple days ago. All of these teams have flaws, right? Georgia and Texas are breaking in new quarterbacks, and I think they lack some explosive weapons on offense. LSU has an experienced quarterback, has a ton of weapons on offense. The offensive line is not where you want it to be. You're waiting for the defense to finally show up and be more consistent. All these teams have flaws, but it's just a combination of coaching staff, players on the team. Like, these are the teams I feel are the safest picks right now. That may change. Who knows what's going to happen here in the offseason lead up to the season, but right now, those are maybe the 3 safest teams, and I don't think any of these teams are going to be an absolute disaster. All right, guys, top 3 teams, LSU, Georgia, Texas. Did I miss anybody? Like, is there a team you think could win the SEC or will win the SEC that I did not mention?
Okay. Sorry. I was
LSU,
trying
Georgia,
to get
Texas.
the live reads. Okay, so LSU, Georgia, and Texas, those are your options.
Those are my top 3 in the conference right
Okay.
now. Is there somebody that you would take out and move in? I can't get there yet with Alabama.
I can't. I can't either. And there's nobody else that's like really sticking out to me in terms of like having all the pieces.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I agree with you. But did you say I'm trying to get the live reads, but I was kind of listening that you said Texas lost a lot of pieces on offense.
The receivers, yes.
Yes. Okay. So I agree with that as well. So I'm kind of like, I kind of want to leave them out of it.
I'm
But
good
I
with
don't-
that.
yeah, I don't know if you need a 3, but-
Steve Sarkisian on offense
Oh, you know I like Sark.
is a lot like Kirby on defense.
Yeah.
And you bring in Jamie French and Khalil Lockett, 2 5-star freshmen. They're freshmen.
Yeah.
But if anybody can make them look good, it's Steve Sarkisian.
No, I like his play calling and I like him as a coach. So I see that too, but I don't know. Like I can't. Like you
Look,
can't
I
get there
get
with
it.
Bama. I can't really get there
I
with
get it.
Texas
There's
either.
question marks
Yeah.
all over the place. Like everyone wants to say, oh, there's so many quarterbacks in the SEC. Not really.
Yeah.
We'll get to that a little bit next segment. Like there's really not a ton as far as experience outside of Garrett Nussmeier. All right, I got a bottom 3 here before we go to break. This is pretty easy to me. Like Arkansas is going to be in my bottom 3. I know there's a lot of people that are excited about them. I'm not. I really thought Sam Pittman would have been out of there by now. Like, even though it's hard to say, I like Sam Pittman. But, I mean, look, when you look at his year by year, this is year 6 for Sam Pittman at Arkansas. Now, the first year he took over in 2020, obviously an awful situation. He goes 3-7. 2021, 9-4. And that was the year everybody was like, okay, can Pittman turn this thing around? Since then, 7-6, 4-8. Last year, a little bit of a bounce back, 7-6 as well. But everyone's going to say Taylon Green's going to take that next step. I just don't think he is. And that's not to say Taylon Green's a bad quarterback. Like, I don't think he is. But he's been a starter for 3 years in college football. 2 at Boise State, 1 last season. Here's what Taylon Green's done. 14 touchdowns, 6 picks, 11 touchdowns, 9 picks, 15 touchdowns, 9 picks. We kind of know who Taylon Green is. Last year, there were question marks saying, hey, can he make the jump from Boise State to Arkansas? He can't, but he was the exact same player. And I mean, completion percentage and everything, 61, 57, 60. He's been really consistent across the board. But that's who Taylon Green is. They lack some explosive weapons. Like, I think they'll have a decent run game, but I don't know. I can't get there with Arkansas. The other team I want to look at is Mississippi State. I like Blake Shapen. I think Blake Shapen's a really good player. Like, I don't know if you guys realize this. Blake Shapen last year, before getting injured, played in 4 games. He had 11 total touchdowns and 1 turnover for Mississippi State. Blake Shapen was balling. Problem was, he didn't have any support on the outside. I still don't think he's going to have a ton of support on the outside. Like, Blake Shapen can do that once again. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. I'm not sure about Jeff Lebby as a coach. I know he's all about the swag. I don't see the swag with Jeff Lebby. I think Mississippi State's really going to struggle. And then the team I got probably at the bottom of this conference, I know a lot of people want to pick Mississippi State. I'm going with the Kentucky Wildcats. Like,
there's a lot of question marks with the Wildcats.
That might be the team I will pick to finish last. I know a lot of people are going to pick Mississippi State, but they're going to struggle at quarterback once again. They cannot get it right. They went from Will Levis, who actually was pretty good his last year. You bring in Devin Leary, had a lot of hype around him, did nothing. Bring in Brock Vandagriff last year, had a lot of hype around him, former 5-star from Georgia, did nothing. Now you bring in Zach Calzada, who has played college football for about a decade, but he hasn't exactly wowed anywhere he's been.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
I mean, Zach Calzada's claim to fame is he beat Alabama in College Station like 2.5 years ago. Since then, like, he got benched at Texas A&M. Then he dropped down to Incarnate Word. Now he's coming back up into the SEC. I just don't see it. And as bad as that offense was a year ago, they at least had weapons. I mean, they lost their major weapons. Like Barry Brown, obviously playing right here in Baton Rouge this year. He was a huge weapon for him a year ago. Now, they couldn't get the ball to him because he had a bad quarterback. But Dane Key, he actually had a really good year last year as well. He's going to play in Nebraska next year. You lose your top 2 receivers. You're breaking in another quarterback who, in my opinion, is a below-average college quarterback anyways. And I'm not saying Mark Stoops is a bad coach. Like, I know Matt and T-Bob always pick on Jake because Jake's a big Mark Stoops guy. I'm somewhere in the middle. I think Mark Stoops is a good coach. I think he's done a lot more at Kentucky than a lot of people can. I just think the program's kind of stale right now. Like, where is Mark Stoops going to this point? Every now and then you're like, okay, he's won 9 games. He's won 8 games. Like, that's good for Kentucky. He's not doing that right now. And, like, I don't see a path forward for him to be able to do that, especially in the NIL era. Like, Kentucky's all about basketball. Football is going to come second for them. So what are they really going to be? I struggle with that. So, look, kind of a little bit of a recap. My top 3 teams that I'm most confident in going into the season, LSU, Georgia, Texas. My bottom 3 that I am least confident in, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Kentucky. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. Speaking of the LSU Tigers, are we more confident or less confident in them after media days? We're breaking that down next here on Off the Bench.
Off the bench.
Well, speaking of diving in, would you like to dive into a Russell Pool? Because when you see what they can do for you, you'll be blown away. I mean, they're going to make the pool of your dreams. In fact, that's their tagline because they know it is factual. Let's build your dream pool. And what better time to get that process started than right now, because you are going to enjoy it year long. This is Louisiana. It is always pool season here in Louisiana, but this is truly a one-stop shop. We're talking about construction, maintenance, retail, all of that you handle with one company. That company is Russell Pool Company, and you can trust them. We trust them. Everybody they build pools for trust them. LSU, the Tigers trust them as well.
Yeah, let them build your dream pool. They can do everything from design to landscape architect to financing options. They can do it all. When you think of quality pools, you think of Russell Pools. RussellPools.com.
From players to legends, Hester and Flynn break down LSU football like only champions can.
Cassie, you ever heard the story about that time Jake was out? It was like the day before 4th of July, and he like forced Alondra to play the entire Freebird, like all 8 minutes of it.
No, really?
Okay, well, this is my Freebird. Like, I just want this song to play the whole day.
This is such a great song.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's almost like Nickelback's a good band, and they get hate for no
Nickelback is
reason,
good.
Cassie. No, he played air guitar, though, for like
It's
that
like
4
a
minute.
5 minute. He made me play the entire solo of Freebird.
That's great.
Like, we sat here for
I was
8 minutes
so
and had it.
uncomfortable. I wanted to like crawl into my skin.
And like Alondra's like trying to
Turn
wave
it
to it and
down.
be like, "Hey, can we turn this down?" T-Bob's just vibing.
I turned it down and T-Bob goes, "Don't get scared now,"
Yeah.
and like made me turn it back up.
That's crazy.
Like, that was a whole segment. We just played Freebird.
Oh my god.
People were like, "Oh, I thought I switched the channel to Eagle 98.1."
Yeah.
Like it was.
I mean, this was last 4th of July.
Yeah.
I think it was like the day before because we were off on the 4th. But yeah,
Wow.
T-Bob feeling himself that day.
Yeah.
This is the type of music. This is my T-Bob Freebird solo. This is it.
Yes.
This is it. This is
a good
the
one.
vibes we needed on a Friday. Excellent choice there. All right, look, SEC Media Days, obviously this entire week, which is why Jake and Matt are not here today. They did fly back home yesterday, but everybody's always going to ask, okay, well, who won SEC Media Days? Who won and who lost? I don't think you can win or lose SEC Media Days. However, Eli Drinkwitz did win it yesterday. We'll get to that a little bit later. As far as like being more confident or less confident in LSU after Media Days, I hate to give you the boring answer, but like I'm kind of the same. And the reason is I'm high on them for a number of reasons. A little bit of what we talked about last segment. Like, they're one of my top teams in the SEC. Garrett Nussmeier is the top reason on this list. When you look at LSU, they by far have the most stability in the conference at the quarterback position. It's weird to look at because a lot of the top teams in the SEC this year have questions at quarterback. A lot of the teams you think are going to struggle, they actually have a little bit of stability. A Vanderbilt, a Mississippi State, like those teams know, an Arkansas, like those teams know who their quarterback is. They're just going to struggle everywhere else. And then you look at some of the quote-unquote elite teams. Gunnar Stockton, first-year starter. Arch Manning to Texas, first-year starter. Alabama's likely going to roll with Ty Simpson. He's going to be a first-year starter. Like Ole Miss, Austin Simmons, first-year starter. All of those teams have a ton of talent around the quarterback position. It's just the most important position on the field is their biggest question mark going into the season. It's more than Nussmeier, though. Like I mentioned, you have the most stability at the quarterback position. You were awesome in the transfer portal. There is a ton of talent at wide receiver and defensive back, which was a big question mark a year ago. Look, Kyron Lacey made big plays for you a year ago. Mason Taylor left this program as the best tight end in school history. I think you're better at wide receiver and tight end than you were a year ago, depth-wise. Aaron Anderson's back. Xavier Thomas is back. Chris Hilton was just at SEC Media Days. Coaching staff expects him to have a big year. You add Berrien Brown, Nick Anderson, who's 6'5", coming over from Oklahoma. I think he's going to be a matchup nightmare. Like, that's 6 guys I just listed right there, and that's not counting some of the freshmen and some of the guys that are under the radar a little bit. Kyle Parker coming back from injury. I mean, there's weapons galore on offense. And sure, you lose Mason Taylor, but Trey'Dez Green, he's back. He's going to have a bigger role. Bauer Sharp is a lot more versatile than a lot of people are giving him credit for at the tight end position. And then on the defensive side of things, you needed corner help and safety help in a big way. You get A.J. Hawsey and Tamarcus Cooley at safety. I think both of those guys are going to start week 1. You go get Mansour Delane at corner. You go get Jakeem Jackson at corner. Like, you have completely rebuilt that defensive backroom. Ashton Stamps is still there as well, entering pretty much his 3rd year as a starter. He started a good bit as a freshman, was your starter all year last season opposite Zy Alexander. Like, Ashton Stamps, he's been there, done that. He knows this defense. He's played in big-time football games. He's going to be fine. You also have 5-star freshman DJ Pickett, who's been on campus for a while now. You have a lot more depth on the D-line. Like you lose Bo Davis, who, as far as like on field, in my opinion, may have been the best coach on your staff. Him and Brad Davis, I think, are the two just best fundamental teaching coaches on your staff. But Kyle Williams knows what he's doing. He's played the defensive tackle position at a high level for a number of years. You added a lot of depth, and you have Ahmad Bro back. You have Dominic McKinley back, who both showed flashes as a freshman. They're going to be bigger, stronger, faster, more ready to go here in year 2 in this program. You also cleaned up at edge rusher. You lose Savion Jones and Brayton Swinson. Like, Brayton Swinson was a weapon for you a year ago. He was a game-changing player. Both of those guys are gone. Then you lose Deshaun Womack to the transfer portal. Gabriel Ralliford played a little bit as a freshman last year. Then you bring in Jack Pyburn, Jamari Butler, who a lot of people aren't talking about, and then Patrick Payton, the really good pass rusher from Florida State. A lot of the question marks you had a year ago, you did an excellent job of filling that void. The biggest concern, obviously, can that O-line hold up? And yeah, I was actually having this conversation with a buddy of mine yesterday. He was like, hey, how do you think the O-line's going to hold up against Clemson's D-line? My response was, I think they're going to struggle in game 1. But the fact that Brad Davis coaches this group, I trust Brad Davis. I think Brad Davis is a great coach. You lack experience there. You got bodies. You just don't really know what you're going to get out of those bodies. But if anybody can coach those guys up, it's Brad Davis. You know, it's funny. I actually saw this. If I can pull up this tweet. Yeah, Dan Orlovsky yesterday was talking about SEC Media Days, and he said, right now, Garrett Nussmeier is the best quarterback in college football. 2 things I love about him. He said he's outstanding pocket management, 9% pressure to sack rate. That was the lowest in the SEC. I'll tell you right now, if Garrett Nussmeier has the lowest sack rate in the SEC, once again, LSU might win the national championship. Because that means the offensive line held up. You saw how good they were at pass blocking a year ago. Where the O-line struggled was in the running game. This O-line did a pretty good job in the bowl game. And I get it. It's a bowl game. It was against Baylor. You're not playing them this year in all likelihood. But they were thrown into the fire. I mean, you pretty much had 5 new starters on the offensive line. And you did not allow a sack against a Dave Aranda defense. That's pretty impressive to me. Like, I get that bowl games don't mean a ton, but you want to give confidence to your fan base moving into the next season. That did that a little bit for me. Again, small sample size, not an SEC opponent, but a good defense with a good defensive coach. They held up well. If they can be an average offensive line this year, I think your offense is going to be just fine. Nussmeier has the weapons to get the ball out quick. And even if you're not great at run blocking like you were a year ago, I think you're better at the running back position. Caden Durham's a year older. Caleb Jackson's been in this program for 3 years now. You bring in 2 stud running backs. Harlem Berry, the number 1 running back in all of high school football last season. And then JT Lindsay, the big-time recruit from Ash up in Alexandria. Like, you're going to be better at the running back spot. Last year, you basically had Caden Durham, Josh Williams. That was it. John Emery goes down after the first game of the season. Caleb Jackson never found his footing throughout the year. That was all you had. You had 2 running backs. I think you got 4 if Caleb Jackson can step up that can make an impact on this team. There's a lot of ways you can help the O-line. Mel's getting the ball out quicker to his playmakers and the running backs just being overall better. That's the biggest question mark, though, heading into the season. Outside of that, though, even the DB room. I trust Corey Raymond. Even on the D-line. Kyle Williams doesn't have the coaching experience, but he's played at a high level for a number of years, and you're pretty talented there. You're better at receiver. You're better at running back. I think you're really good at linebacker. It's a room we don't talk about a ton. If that offensive line can hold up, LSU could have a really good season. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. Put a button on SEC Media Days when we come back. There was a lot of talk for a lot of media members that were out there at SEC Media Days. Biggest surprise and biggest disappointing teams, who you think that could be in the SEC in 2025. We'll talk about it next here on Off the Bench.
Off the bench.
All right, go to trashrangers.com. Trashrangers.com. One of the cool things they always have, like if it is a big holiday like the 4th of July, like when you went on the other day, like it had, hey, here's the update. Here's when we're going to pick up your trash, just so you know every detail. And I'm sure, look, you'll get that sent to your phone as well, because you know they're going to send text reminders, put your trash out. I mean, they take all the hassle out of everything, right? So go to the website, sign up today. If you're one of the lucky ones that's able to do that for residential service, you can always sign up for that commercial service. Roll-off dumpsters, 3 sizes to choose from. Give them a call and make sure you've got the right one on your project. That is trashrangers.com.
Yeah, you got a 4th of July party, just had it. You got anything. Got a bunch of people over. You got a lot of trash. Got to throw it away. You want reliable. You want hassle-free. You want a company that cares about taking care of your house, your business, your residence, wherever it is. Give them a call today or go visit them, trashrangers.com.
Never made it as a wise man. I couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing. Tired of living like a blind man. I'm sick aside without a sense of feeling. And this is how you remind me.
Tigers turn talkers. This is Off the Bench.
All right, welcome back in. Friday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp sitting in for Jacob Hester and T-By Baby. We got Alondra Villarreal. We got Cassie Spazzali. No way I was stepping on that song. Like, that may not be your favorite Nickelback song. A lot of people probably have a lot of different favorites, but that just is Nickelback. When you think of the band Nickelback, you think of that song. That is the one. All right, look, want to put a button on SEC Media Days. We talked a lot of SEC Media Days here in hour number 1. And I teased it a little bit there going into break. I saw a lot of media members talk about who's going to be their biggest surprise team and their most disappointing SEC team in 2025. I'll start with disappointing because this one was easy for me. It's the Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee made that run to the college football playoff last year. I'm still shocked by that. They're going to have a solid defense again this year. I just don't think that offense will be good at all. You're breaking in a new quarterback in Joey McGuire. You don't have a ton of weapons on offense. Now, the pushback people are going to say is, well, their quarterback last year wasn't great. You didn't have a ton of weapons last year. I understand that. Nico wasn't good. Like, I think his numbers, off the top of my head, I think his numbers were like 19 touchdowns, 6 picks. Something like that. And like over half of his touchdown passes were outside the SEC. I get all that. I don't know how you replace Dylan Sampson if you're the Tennessee Volunteers. That is my biggest concern. Dylan Sampson last year, SEC Offensive Player of the Year, he was a monster. I mean, he ran for over 1,400 yards, 1,491, 22 rushing touchdowns. It was Dylan Sampson that kept you in games a year ago, not Nico Iamaleava. Nico wasn't good. That's why when everybody's like, why is Nico demanding $3.5 million a year to go in there and have a 19-6 touchdown interception ratio? And you padded your stats out of conference. I'm not worried about them at the quarterback position because I don't think they were good there a year ago. Replacing Dylan Sampson is going to be so hard. They're still going to have a good defense, but how good? You replace a James Pierce. He was a really good player for you. You have another guy on the defensive line you have to replace. And while I think it's going to be good, I think there's a chance that defense takes a slight step back. I think it's kind of a wash at the quarterback position, and it's tough to replace the SEC Offensive Player of the Year. A lot of people still expect big things out of Tennessee. I thought they overachieved last year, so there's obviously a chance that they can do that again this year. I don't see it, though. And honestly, I considered Alabama here, but I don't think Alabama's going to be a disaster. That's why I didn't put them here. The expectations are just so high. Like, okay, the over-under win totals came out yesterday, and Alabama's at 9.5. I just can't get there. Whether it's Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, or Keelan Russell, you're going to have a brand new starting quarterback. Jalen Milroe was your best running threat a year ago. He's obviously gone. You lose Justice Haynes in the transfer portal. You have Jam Miller at running back. He's a fine running back. But Jam Miller doesn't scare you if you're an opposing defensive coordinator. Ryan Williams one of the best receivers in college football. He's out there. But what do you have outside of him? Right now, Jeremy Bernard. Maybe you'll have one of those highly touted freshmen step up. But, I mean, outside of Ryan Williams, there's not a ton of weapons on that offense. So you don't have a ton of help around that first-year quarterback. Their defense will probably still be good, a lot like Tennessee, but I just can't get there at 9.5 right now. Ty Simpson, maybe Austin Mack, like one of those guys is going to have to show me before I can hop on the Bama hype train. Year after year after year, everyone ranked Bama so high, and rightfully so, because you had an X factor that nobody else had named Nick Saban. Nick Saban's not in that building anymore. Kalen DeBoer is a good football coach. He really is. You go look at his record against Dan Lanning. A lot of people think Dan Lanning is one of the best coaches in college football. Hand up, I do as well. Kalen DeBoer has a really good winning record against Dan Lanning. So, I mean, he knows how to win games. But you're just not Nick Saban, and that's okay. But let's stop hyping up Alabama like DeBoer is Nick Saban. That's the only issue I have with the Crimson Tide going into this year. As far as my surprising team, like a team that may be able to overperform, this one was hard. Like, I considered Missouri. The only problem is I don't know how big of a surprise that's going to be. Like, at this point, Eli Drinkwitz has proven he can win games. Like, they quietly won 10 games a year ago. They have a really easy schedule. Like, you're in the SEC, but you have 6 consecutive home games, then your bye week. I don't know how that happens. I don't know who Eli's paying off to get that easy schedule, because they probably had the easiest schedule in the SEC a year ago, and they have it again this year. So with an easy schedule, a proven coach who has done it in the past, like, I don't know how big of a surprise that's going to be. I considered Florida. However, I'm pausing on DJ Lagway a little bit more than most people are. I saw Jake and Matt. We were listening to him when we were back in studio the other day. They were talking about Jackson Arnold. And they were like, hey, you know, Jackson Arnold, his numbers were up and down at Oklahoma a year ago. And they were. Jackson Arnold last season, 62% completion, just 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And Jackson Arnold was benched, ran out of Oklahoma, now he's at Auburn. So why is everyone so high on DJ Lagway? Lagway's numbers last year, 59% completion, 12 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Jackson Dart was actually better across the board than DJ Lagway. I get it. You look at Lagway, he's a big guy, he's a former 5-star. The ball just looks different coming out of his hand. I understand that. But you're going to have to prove it to me. DJ Lagway did not do that a year ago. He just didn't. There were times he looked like the best quarterback in the conference. There were times he looked like he's a freshman thrown into the fire before he was ready. I got to see the consistency. Maybe Auburn? Maybe. Just because everybody's expectations are so low for the Auburn Tigers. Well, look, this is Hugh's 3rd year. He struggled really bad his first 2 years in Auburn. I get that. I do think this is probably the best offense he's had. Like, Hugh Freeze's biggest problem is he hitched his wagon to Peyton Thorne 2 years in a row, and that was the wrong decision. Peyton Thorne was not a good quarterback. He was not an SEC caliber quarterback. But that's the guy that Hugh Freeze fell in love with, and he rolled with it. You have Jackson Arnold coming over. And again, a lot of people have mixed opinions about him, like I was just talking about, but he's still a step up for Peyton Thorne in my eyes. And if Jackson Arnold doesn't work out as the starter, you have Ashton Daniels, who was the starter at Stanford a year ago, and you have 5-star freshman Deuce Knight. So if Jackson Arnold stumbles out of the gate, you can pull him like that. You got talent behind him. Cam Coleman for Auburn is an absolute stud. He had 600 yards, 8 touchdowns as a true freshman, a big-bodied wide receiver. And then you bring in Eric Singleton from Georgia Tech, who a little bit more of an underrated signing as far as like transfer portal. I thought he was one of the top receivers in the transfer portal out of Virginia Tech. He's a solid option. You pair him on the other side of the field, him and Cam Coleman, that's a really good duo for Jackson Arnold to get the ball to. It's probably better than any weapons he had a year ago. Like, yes, he had Bauer Sharp at tight end, but he lost Nick Anderson after 1 game. We had talked about that. There was not a ton of weapons over there at Oklahoma. I think Jackson Arnold may have better weapons this year. You do have to replace Jarquez Hunter, but Freeze can figure that out. They got talented running backs over there at Auburn. They always do. Can the defense improve is another big thing. Their defense last year, not up to the Auburn standard. Because say what you want about Auburn, their offenses have struggled in recent years. They've always had a good defense. They did not a year ago. If you could shore up the defensive side of the ball and Jackson Arnold can do just enough to upset some teams, maybe there's a chance the Auburn Tigers surprise people. Now, I don't feel great about that. It's because it's like, I mean, I mentioned it earlier. I gave you like my top 3 teams, my bottom 3 teams. There's kind of a log jam there in the middle where it's like, hey, whichever coach pushes the right buttons at the right time, this team's going to emerge. I don't have faith that Hugh Freeze can do that, but I do think this is the best team he's had by far since he's been over there with the Auburn Tigers. All right, we're going to take a timeout. When we get back, look, obviously LSU plays Clemson in the opener, and everybody seems to have, differing opinions of Dabo Swinney. I like Dabo Swinney. Me and T-Bob used to get into that a lot. We're going to make a little fun of our guy coming back here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
All right, go to rouses.com. And when you go to rouses.com, the thing that we always kind of encourage you to do is go check out that weekly ad. See what they have on special. Now, hopefully you took advantage of the 65-year anniversary a week ago that we were telling you about. But that doesn't mean that the deals are going to stop. You go right now, you type in your zip code, it's going to pull up that closest Rouse's Market to you, because that's one of the great things, right? You are going to have those deals in all of those locations. Like right now, you've got boneless London broil steak. You got boneless top round roast, only $5.97 a pound. You got Lorianne peaches, only $2.99 a pound. Go to rouses.com.
Peach season. Oh, my goodness. $2.99 a pound. We got some peaches the other day from Rouse's. They were unbelievable. Wife made a little cobbler. Kidding me? Yeah, we usually, like the grocery store, we wouldn't usually send you to the website route. Go there because you can see the deals. You have the coupons right there. You can see their specials, what they're doing. 65 years, Rouse's local market. You know what it is. Don't go to those national ones. You know what? Go to a local one. And you know why? Because it's better.
They sell My High, too.
And they sell that My High. Go drink it. But go to Rouse's Market. Go to your nearest one. Get your groceries today. Rouse's.
...2007 champs, purple and gold to the core. This is Off the Bench with Hester and Flynn. Baton Rouge's go-to for all things Louisiana sports.
I go to centralplumbing.org. Centralplumbing.org, not only in Central, in the entire greater Baton Rouge area. We are talking to you. 225-925-8552 is the number. 24/7, 365 weekend holiday. If you would have had something on the 4th of July, they would have been there, because that's what 24/7, 365 means. So again, 225-925-8552 is the number. Always online at centralplumbing.org. And remember, in the entire greater Baton Rouge area, we are talking to you one more time, centralplumbing.org.
Yeah, you know how powerful it is to know that the company that works for you 24/7, no matter when it is, 365 days a year. If something happens to your home, to your business, when you're sitting there with your entire family, that they can come and fix it on the spot. Central Plumbing, they can help. Anything you want on your plumbing needs. You got a flooding, a leak, whatever it is. Centralplumbing.org, centralplumbing.org.
Welcome back in. Final segment, hour number 1 here on a Friday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp sitting in for Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. We got Alondra Villarreal and Cassie Spazzali along for the ride as well. Okay. Dabo Swinney is corny in his own way. We all know that. Whether it's genuine, whether it's disingenuine. Anytime I've defended Dabo Swinney, I've always said, look, he's uniquely himself. Like you can't fault the guy for being himself. At least he's honest about things. However, this one's a little bit too far. Do we have the video ready? Okay. Dabo Swinney was at some speaking engagement, media availability. Not sure where it was. Doesn't matter. He was telling a story about how he went into a bar owned by LSU head coach Brian Kelly. All right, give us 1 second. We'll get that video to you. But anyways, he talks about how He went into a bar owned by LSU head coach Brian Kelly, and Kelly's wife had a boutique right next to it. Look, we only got like 3 minutes till you got it. Okay, here it is.
There on Great Beach, little spot. So my brother and my sister-in-law, she's saying, "Hey, Brian Kelly has a place. His wife has a gift shop right on the corner there in Grayton Beach." I'm like, "Oh, really? That's pretty cool." I had no idea. So anyway, we go there, and I walk off. So I go into the store. Me and Kath walking in the store. Kath buys something because she's trying to support Mrs. Kelly or whatever we're doing. So she buys something, and we go in the store, and I'm walking around. I go out, and they're like, "Yeah," and he's got a concert. He's going to have a concert in the back. So I'm like, "Okay." I'll walk out in the back. There's a little stage in the back, and there's like some, I think it's like fake grass or whatever, just a small little area. And it says Brian Kelly, performing live on this day, whatever. And I'm going, freaking hey, Brian Kelly can sing, play. I didn't know that. So I'm like taking pictures, and I'm sending it to Brian Kelly. I'm sending all these pictures to Brian Kelly. And then I'm going, I get on the stage, Brian Kelly, I'm just kind of having some fun. I'm like, hey, I got, and I sent all this to Brian Kelly. All right. Well, then the guy that was with my brother, he's walking over because Cass said something about, I don't know what she said. I just can't believe that Brian Kelly, this is really cool. And she's, and like, we played them or something in the opener or whatever to the guy. And he's like, what? And as it turns out, there's another Brian Kelly. And he's like, what's the band? Anybody know? It's something Florida Georgia Line or something. I think it's called Florida Georgia Line or Georgia Florida Line Band. Florida Georgia Line Band, and he's like a lead singer or something. And I've even heard their songs, but I don't.
Okay, so he sends these pictures to Brian Kelly. I don't know if this is true, guys. I'm gonna kind of call out our guy Dabo Sweeney here. First off, why the hell would you think that Brian Kelly was performing a concert? Look, BK may have the pipes of an angel. I don't know. I never heard it, but like that's where your thought went. Also, if you have Brian Kelly's name in your phone and you're good enough friends to text him back and forth, Brian Kelly of Florida Georgia Line does not spell Kelly the same way as our Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly of Florida Georgia Line is Kelley. Like, look, I like Dabo. This just seems a little disingenuous to me. Like, it was try hard, in my opinion. And again, I'm a Dabo defender a lot more than most people. I think he's a good coach, but I just that one I was just kind of like, all right, like let's slow down a little bit, Dabo. Like you don't always have to be that guy. All right, coming up here in hour number 2, we're gonna have big deal or no big deal at the top of the show. We'll do that here on this Friday. Then Nick Underhill of NewOrleans.football coming up at 8:15. Stay tuned here on the other side on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
Well, this feels weird because I was watching the USA-Mexico game and started thinking about Dos Equis and going for Dos and. I guess it won out. There. But look, we say it, and it can't be just lip service. There's not a bad time for Dos Equis. Lake beer, pool beer, beach beer, toes in the sand, Dos Equis in hand, tailgate beer. It is never a bad time. So enjoy responsibly. Put your feet up. Kick them on up. Enjoy an ice-cold Dos Equis.
Lager Especial, Amber Especial. They got it. We're in South Louisiana. All right. Everyone likes a beverage. Everyone likes to have a little beer, cocktail, whatever it is. Make it a Dos Equis. Go for Dos, the delicious Mexican lager. Anytime is a good time for a beer, and especially Dos Equis. Drink responsibly, but delete some beers with Dos Equis.